Cycling in winter isn't something we usually do, but here we are. April 2025, Nova Scotia, caught in a late spring snowstorm just days into our ride through the Nova Scotia Peninsula section of the Trans-Canada Trail. The Trans-Canada Trail stretches more than 28,000 kilometers, linking all 10 provinces and touching 3 oceans. It begins in St. John's, Newfoundland, and winds through cities, forests, prairies, and mountain ranges all the way to Victoria, British Columbia, with a northern arm heading to Tuktoyaktuk on the Arctic Ocean. It's not a single trail, but a sprawling network. Rail trails, canal paths, back roads, and wilderness waterways stretching across rivers, the Great Lakes, and even along the Pacific coast. In Nova Scotia, we followed the trail from Mahone Bay to Liverpool, cycling through woodland corridors, small towns, and a few surprises along the way. I don't ride a snow bike or a fat bike. Mine's a Pedigo Latch, an electric assist fold-up bike made for pavement and packed gravel. It's comfortable, compact, and surprisingly resilient. As we neared Halifax, a storm barreling across central Canada took a turn and clobbered the peninsula. We took shelter in a motel in Truro. The roads were cleared quickly, but the trails needed more time to thaw. While waiting for the snow to thaw, we took the opportunity to visit a few coastal towns: Halifax, Peggy's Cove, and Lunenburg. You'll see Halifax and Peggy's Cove in upcoming episodes of this series, but in this video, we're focusing on Lunenburg, since we're cycling the Lunenburg County Trail, named for the very region it runs through. We'd seen beautiful images of the town and wanted to experience it for ourselves, and the snow made its colorful buildings look even more striking. Lunenburg is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, known for its preserved colonial architecture, shipbuilding legacy, and its striking hillside setting on the Atlantic coast. Founded in 1753 by British colonists, the town's waterfront, street grid, and brightly painted homes have made it one of the most photographed places in Canada. Even though the Trans-Canada Trail doesn't pass through Lunenburg itself, the Lunenburg County Trail, part of the national network, runs just to the north, so it made sense to visit while we waited for the trails to thaw. And honestly, it was a good reminder. Sometimes the detours are just as memorable as the main route. If you enjoy videos like this, you can really help us out by liking, subscribing, or leaving a comment. It lets us know you're watching and helps us make more videos like this one. After a few days, the roads were clear, and the sun had begun to soften the snow lingering on the trails. It was time to check if the path was ready for riding. In this episode, we're cycling the entire 50-kilometer Lunenburg County Rail Trail, from Bridgewater to the county line. From there, we continue into Queens County, following the Trans-Canada Trail toward Liverpool. The trail ends abruptly there, with a long unmaintained gap. Maybe it's missing bridges, maybe it's private lands. We started our path on the Lunenburg County Rails to Trails, a 50.8-kilometer route that begins near Mahone Bay. This is where it connects with the Rum Runners Trail, which runs east towards Halifax or south to Lunenburg. Although this section is part of the Trans-Canada Trail, the local signage tells a few different stories. Near Mahone Bay, we started on the Dynamite Trail, which connects to the Bay to Bay Trail toward Lunenburg. But we stayed on the Trans-Canada route, officially the Lunenburg County Trail, which heads west. The name changes along the way: Centennial Trail, Adventure Trail, Bull Run Trail, same path, different names. It's all part of the charm, and a good reason to carry a GPS or offline map, just in case the charm gets a little disorienting. Like much of the Trans-Canada Trail, this stretch follows an old railbed, in this case the former Halifax and Southwestern Railway. The wide, stone-dust surface and gentle grade make it great for cycling, once the snow is gone, that is. We travel by leapfrog. One of us cycles ahead, while the other drives the van. It's a system that works, especially in areas like this where trail services are few and far between. The trail is mostly decent, with some lingering snowy patches. I sometimes find myself sitting on the bike, scooting along with my feet on the ground so I don't wipe out. I've seen maybe one other person an hour on this stretch. It's quiet, peaceful, and just a bit remote. I spotted 2 deer crossing the path ahead, too far for the GoPro camera to catch clearly. But just a minute later, I saw them again on the dirt road that intersects the trail. I stopped and let the camera roll. In editing, I was able to zoom in and capture one deer standing on the road and another just off to the right in the forest, before both of them bounded away into the trees. The trail gets a little rougher as I near Blysteiner Lake, more potholes and puddles. The lake itself is beautiful. Somewhere after Blysteiner Lake, my GPS informed me I was now on the adventure trail. I hadn't noticed crossing into a new trail, but around here the names changed gently, like scenery out the window of a slow train. We passed a handy bike repair station near Hurdle Road as we came into Bridgewater, where signage now called it the Centennial Trail. From there, we rode along the Le Havre River through mixed forest and gentle curves. It's a lovely stretch, and Bridgewater itself has lots of practical stops. Fast food, groceries, coffee, even a motel if you're ready for a hot shower and a soft bed. We crossed the Le Havre River on the old rail bridge, now part of the Centennial Trail.
You're passing on your left.
From there, the trail skirts the edges of Bridgewater, tucked behind backyards, parking lots, and clusters of trees. The cut rock beside the path still marks where the trains once passed. On the outskirts of Bridgewater, local signage calls this next section the Bull Run Trail. It runs from here to the edge of Lunenburg County. The landscape shifts. Bits of light industry, quiet forest, and the occasional backyard fence. Trail passes through what used to be a small community called Bull Run, named around the time of the American Civil War. It was also a route farmers once used to move their cattle, and quite possibly bulls really did run here. The Bull Run community later became Middleton, and eventually Middlewood. By 1907, the Halifax and Southwestern Railway stretched from Halifax through Bridgewater and on to Yarmouth. When the section between Bridgewater and Liverpool was abandoned in 1982, it became part of a rails to trails conversion, giving the corridor new life, and ultimately it became part of the Trans-Canada Trail. According to the GPS, we were passing through Hebville, Conquerall, and Italy Cross, though you wouldn't know it from the trail. Even with the trees still bare, most of these places stayed out of sight. Still, each invisible village marked another few kilometers behind us. At Wallace Lake, we swapped. Harry took the bike this time, while I drove ahead with the van. Keeps things rolling. Then came a stretch where the trail had clearly been hit by spring runoff, logs, puddles, and debris scattered across the path. I was able to ride through parts of it, but soon had to walk the bike over ruts and rivulets cutting across the gravel. Nothing dramatic, just a reminder that these trails aren't always as tidy as the guidebooks suggest. As we neared the county line, the trail dried out again. Our GPS told us we'd reached the end of Lunenburg County, but out here there's no marker, no fanfare, just a quiet pause at the edge of the trail with a few boulders to lean on. This is the invisible boundary where the Lunenburg County Trail and its Bull Run section officially end. The start of the Queens County Rail Trail picks up right where Lunenburg County leaves off. It's 35 kilometers long. We cycled and hiked about 17 kilometers of the trail before reaching a long impassable gap, another 17 kilometers with no clear route. Trail closed sections may have missing bridges or overgrown sections. Like the trail before it, this route follows the old Halifax and Southwestern Railway line that once ran to Yarmouth. It's quieter out here, a little more remote, and the sky was starting to hint at rain. Then, unexpected company. A porcupine was foraging at the edge of the trail. I asked politely if I could pass, and he shuffled off just as politely.
Thank you for moving.
Porcupines are slow, solitary animals, gentle but not to be underestimated. Their backs are covered in quills that can detach on contact, and once embedded, they're painful and hard to remove. They don't attack, but they will defend themselves. Best to give them space and let them go about their business. The trail grew rougher after that, larger rocks, deeper ruts. It's shared with ATVs in this section, and I had to slow right down for the rocks. Local signs show this portion of the Queens County Trail includes sections named the Trestle Trail, the Dwight Krause Memorial Trail, and the Somerville Trail. Harry took over for the final stretch. The steady rain had started up, light but enough to dampen the camera and make riding a little less carefree. We finished this section at a fading wooden sign for the Somerville Trail, hand-painted, worn by time and weather. But it marked our endpoint, and that was good enough. Soon after, we reached Liverpool, just past the start of that 17-kilometer trail gap. We stayed the night, warm and dry, already thinking about how we'd pick up the trail next time. Thank you for riding along with us. This is one of 5 episodes from our spring 2025 ride across Nova Scotia on the Trans-Canada Trail. We're Maddie and Harry, and we're crossing Canada one trail at a time. We're a small channel with just over 200 subscribers, so if you enjoyed this, we'd truly appreciate a like, a comment, or even a subscribe. Every bit of support helps keep us going.